Hello, everybody. Welcome to Person-Centered Cyber. This is Cheryl Abram, and I'm here with you with another episode of So That's. And this one is going to be very interesting. Okay, so in the description, I told you all that you know you we've been told definitions of physical and logical and what all that means, and we get it right to pass the exam. But I am going to have to give you a wider perspective of that. Okay, I think a more accurate description of exactly what those things are. But first, have y'all heard that DJ Khaled, the song with Nas and Jay-Z? Sorry, not sorry. Child, I've been looping it. I love that damn song. It's it sounds so amazing. It is so, and to see those two together is phenomenal. Okay. Now, I knew, back in the day that they didn't get that, that they were beefing and stuff, and I was real religious back then. I ain't even listen to devil music. And even I knew, okay, that they were, that they were always beefing with each other. Right. And so, to have them come together and just be so, I mean, just clean and amazing, and they're just doing so many great things. I mean, to see these two black men, I'm telling you, it is just. I think that's why I just kept watching the video over and over again because I'm just so proud, and it's amazing. It's so amazing to see those two together. And the song is fire. It's fire. Hey, NC Worker, how you doing? It's really good. Okay, so if you haven't heard Sorry Not Sorry, go listen to that. It's all over YouTube. Okay, all kind of people are playing it. It's so good. It really is. And I didn't really listen when I did start listening to devil music, right? I listened to more Jay-Z than Nas for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's not like I preferred one. I don't know. Jay-Z was just playing more or something, I guess. I don't know. But I love how his lyrics, you really got to be thinking about this. I mean, he really makes you think, right? Because there's so much in there, it's really good. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, they ain't got nothing to do with logical and physical, but I just wanted to say that. Okay. All right. So now when I first came into cybersecurity, okay, I thought, okay, physical, that's physical. I could touch it. It's right here in front of me. I can see that. That's not a big deal. I know what physical means. All right. But logical stumped me a little bit, because before I came into cybersecurity, if someone would say logical, I would think that it's about, the way somebody is putting information together. Okay, is it in a logical way? Does it make sense? Type thing. You know what I mean? But I came to find out, well, that's not what that really means here in cybersecurity. Okay. So, I read about it, and, I've gone on with my life and all that until, I started doing other research about other things. And then I'm like, well, hold on a second. Let me back up. All right. Because the way I'm understanding these other things, especially when I started to look up bits and like IP addresses and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't think physical is really, the way or it's all that of the way it's been defined. Okay. So normally we think about physical as, the thing you see in front of you. You can touch whatever screen you're looking at right now. Look at this video. You can touch your keyboard or even the CPU inside the computer, the motherboard, all that stuff on the motherboard. You can touch that, right? So that's physical. That's, what we normally think about with physical. Well, that's fine. Okay. But if you think about it at like a different level of abstraction, okay, it's a little more accurate, right? So what physical actually is the physical is like something that its purpose to stay permanent, okay? It's supposed to just be there, all right, and just be what it is, okay? Now, I use the human body as an example, as a metaphor to help us understand this stuff, right? Now, when it comes to physical, what is it in the human body? What physical thing is there that is meant to be permanent, okay, to not change, all right? Now, nothing out here. I mean, all this stuff, you know, the way I can come, you know, to y'all next month, look like a totally different, you know, I could be a whole man. I'm halfway there, okay, with the, you know, all that. My voice could be deeper, all that stuff, right? So that, you know, I mean, it's not easy. It is not, look, it's not easy, but it can change. Okay, I'm still gonna be Cheryl, you know, all that. So when it comes to physical, the things in me and you that are purposed to be permanent. Hey, Professor Black Ops, how you doing? The things that are purposed to be permanent. Let me put it up here because I have it in my banner. These boys are up here making all that noise. Where is it? Damn it, I didn't save it. Child, I sure didn't. Okay, so the things that are purposed to be permanent, all right, are your blood, things like your DNA, okay, your fingerprints, right, permanent. Even if you shave them off, you only gonna have these, right? You don't get no you know, different prints, right? And the reason, and so if you, so let's say, and that's permanent. That's the physical part of you that is purposed to stay the same. Otherwise, it ain't you. If you wake up tomorrow, okay, with a whole different DNA, you're not you. Like, who the hell are you? Okay, you're not. You know, I'm not. If I wake up with a whole, you know, they, you know, my DNA is just different. No, that doesn't happen. Okay, that stuff is meant to stay permanent. And hardware. And I say that it's blood and DNA and stuff like that. That's meant to stay permanent because of when it comes to things like the root of trust, right? So when your computer, when your hardware goes through that hardware root of trust, all right, is not so much. It's not so much about who you are, okay? So my blood, if I take a blood test, you know, I'm going to be whatever my blood thing is, you know, if I take a DNA, you know, that's going to come out the same, which is why they use it a lot in forensics, right? And our biometric stuff, you know, we do the prints, we do the eye scans and all that, right? Because that stuff is meant to stay the same. Okay, every time, you know, you put your eye up there, if it ain't you, then it's gonna, you know, that's not Cheryl or whoever. So, so those things are meant to be there. And like I said, for the root of trust, right? When you go through, when your hardware root of trust, you turn on your computer and all that stuff is going on, it needs to be the same computer that you used yesterday. But not just that, the root of trust is also about what you can do. All right. As a CPU, as a computer, as a laptop, a phone, whatever it is, okay? You are purposed to do a certain thing. For example, if I put as a user, you know, as an authorized person using this machine, the input, what I put in as input, okay, I need to get out what I'm asking for. Okay, I can't put in input and then get out something like totally different. That's not what I didn't tell you to pull that up. You know what I mean? I need to trust that this machine, you know, is going to do what it's supposed to do, what it's built to do, what it's purposed to do. Okay. Now, if I got some malware or some stuff in there, you know, a whole rootkit, you know, and all this other going on up in there, then I'm probably not going to get what I'm asking for. Something's going to go awry. You know, something's not going to, you know, going to be trusted to do what, you know, I'm telling it to do, you know, when I put in these various commands. Okay. So when we say physical, we're not just talking about the stuff that you can touch, you know, we're talking about the stuff that's purposed to be permanent. Okay. Like, so what's purposed to be permanent in when you do your root of trust and you do all those various checks and stuff, right? You know, so you want to be sure that, like we talked about with the IP address, right? Your CPU, your memory space, all of that stuff that's critical to this machine being what. Now, some stuff you can, you know, you can replace and stuff like that, right? But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, which is why I said it's about what this computer can do. Okay, can you be trusted? So when I put in inputs, you know, I'm going to get the same output. You know, when I say I want this thing to go here, It actually goes there, because me as an authorized user, or as an authorized user that I can actually do something. I'm not being, locked out from doing what I need to do. At some point, well, maybe something's going on to where I can't trust this machine to do what it's supposed to do anymore. Okay. So physical. Now let's get to the logical. Now I talked a little bit about the logical for when I talked about IP address. Okay. And I have more. Listen, I'm telling y'all, it's shocking. Let me get through this logical first. Let me tell you about that IP. Okay, listen, I'm telling you now. Oh my goodness, y'all. Y'all just, okay. Logical. So again, when I first came into cybersecurity, logical, I was told and I heard, people said, it's software, anything that's software, coding, programming, whatever, that's just the logic, that's just the software in the computer. Okay. And okay, yes, I get that. That's what that is. And when I did the IP address and all that, I said, an IP address is a logical address that points you to the land, okay, where it points you to what's permanent, points you to the memory, okay, the stuff that's not going to change. So yes, and that's good too. But also, let me add to that. So we know that software or the things that are logical change the state of hardware. Okay, software changes the state of hardware. So I'm like, okay, so how does it do it? Now remember what I said hardware was, right? It's your blood, your DNA, like the stuff that's meant to be permanent. I said permanent, okay? So how in the world would something change something that's meant to be permanent? All right. Now let's look at your blood, for instance, right? What is now, first, one way that you can look at it is that when it comes to logical instruction, like written instructions and stuff that people, programs and all that stuff, right? Or people or machines write. You can look at that as like your name. Your name is logical, okay? It's pointing to you, it's not permanent, you can change your name. However, your name identifies you. Your social security number, okay? That's written by a person, okay? Like that's not you, but it helps identify who you are and all that. But that can be changed too. It's hard to do, but that can be changed too. So I mean, that's okay, but what's really logical, the thing within human beings that can change the state of our hardware, okay, are emotions, okay? Emotions. When and if you get, well, you do. When you get angry, what happens to your blood pressure? What you have physical changes when you have different emotions. When you're happy, you have there are physiological changes happening, okay, in your body. It's not changing who you are. It's not changing the hardware, okay? It's not doing that, but it's causing the hardware to change, you see what I'm saying? So now you're presenting in a different way, okay? Because your emotions have impacted your physiology, you're now presenting in a different way, okay? You're either laughing or you're crying or you're screaming at the top of your lungs or, something is happening, okay? Because this software has changed the state of the hardware. So now your output is going to be different than it was before, okay? And the thing in human beings that does that consistently are our emotions, right? Which change all the time. Okay, they change all the time. But the thing about it is, the thing that makes it, the reason why I use that for, to compare logical and physical is because it's a good example of how it changes us. I'm still Cheryl. I'm just mad as hell. Okay, and I'm presenting that I'm mad as hell. Okay, and the thing is, right? it's something that can, you know, come from outside or it don't matter, inside or outside, right? I can be triggered by something from the outside or even a memory, triggered by a memory that will have me presenting in a different way. Okay, so this software has changed the state of the hardware, so now my output is different than it was before. Okay, all right, now I say that kind of stuff is really important because it is. Okay, when we're able to see these things from a different perspective, you know, in a more I don't want to say more true, but a less technical way, I guess you can say. Okay, a less technical way, we can think about things differently, right? So today I'm working on this a Linux course. Me and Dr. Phillips are working on this Linux course for, you're going to love this, Professor Black Ops, for risk management professionals and for cyber professionals. Now, cyber professionals, not just Linux administrators, like everybody, okay, needs to know this aspect of Linux, or needs to know Linux from this aspect. Okay, we're going to do another one for command prompt too, for Windows as well. But I say that because now the way that we're presenting some of the stuff, right, is going to require different kind of thinking. I've always said we should not be trained on, when I mean we, I mean security professionals, okay, people who are specializing in securing information systems. And if you read the definition of information system, at least one of them in NIST, because NIST has that CRSC has a couple of them, but most of them, an information system is the entire organization. It's not just the servers and the hosts and the desktops, okay? It's everybody, okay? An information system includes the people. It includes the machines and the processes and all that stuff. That whole thing is an information. My house with all these computers and and phones and me and my kids, the rules I have in the house and all that is an information system. In this house, this house's information system. You understand? So we need to, first of all, see, like, tell the truth about stuff, see stuff for what it really is, and the definition says it. Okay, this definition says it. So it's not just, you know, the machines and all that stuff, right? So we're looking at it from that perspective. Plus, we're looking at it's going to be really good, by the way. But another thing we're looking at is I am, you know, looking at botnets. I've been doing a lot of work looking at botnets and what they are, and you know, because we're taking it from the perspective of command and control, because command and control is a thing that happens, you know, in bureaucratic organizations, especially if you work in government. Okay, you got bureaucracy down to the ground, child, down to the ground. Okay. So command and control, and in the military too, you know, there's a lot of command and control, but we hear command and control as well here in cybersecurity, don't we? You know, especially when we're talking about attackers, you know, and having a command and control server or something like that. All right. And I think botnets, like that's a good example to have. And now these are people who are not familiar with Linux or, you know, or anything like that, but I feel like Linux is a good way for us to tackle some of these things, and we're going to include the STIGs in there. You know, we're going to you know, send them, let them know what the CIS checks are. And oh, Professor Black Ops, I asked you a question about that too in LinkedIn. I don't know if you saw it, but I have a question. I have another question about that as well. Yeah, so we're doing all that now, and so I'm doing these so that's videos, because I'm gonna need people to really break out of what we've been just what we've been told. Okay, if you think that many of these things like IP address, all it is what you read in CompTIA's course or somebody else's course or whatever, then you're sadly mistaken. Okay, it's way more than that. Okay, I even went so far. Listen, if you, you know what? I'm going to save that. I'm gonna save it. I'm just gonna put it on my Patreon. But the idea is, if y'all remember, what was the name of that law during apartheid? What was it called? Was it like the Bantu law or something like that? Let me find it right quick. Bantu, that's what it's called. It's called the Bantu Education Act, okay? 1953. Did you hear me say 53? 1953, okay? This wasn't 1785 or so. 1953, okay? This was not that long ago. It's called the Bantu Education Act of South Africa, 1953, okay? And this was the act enacted in 53 and in effect January 1st, 1954, right? That governed the education of Black South Africans. I saw a documentary, right? Oh, was it a documentary? No, it wasn't. It was, who was that guy from, he took over for Jon Stewart. What's his name? Oh my goodness. He's the talk show guy. He came from his, oh my God, I forget his name. Trevor. Is it Trevor? Trevor, I think is his name. But he wrote a book. He wrote a book called, let me see. Trevor Noah, that's his name. Trevor, I love him. He's so funny. And I love the show now that he's on there, right? And he's looking like a whole snack, isn't he? Since the pandemic, child, he's let his hair grow out and everything. So he wrote a book that I read, and this is where I read this. Okay, what's the name of his book? Y'all gonna get this education today. Okay, you're gonna get it today. What is it called? Shit. What the hell is it? Oh, Born a Crime. That's what it is. Born a Crime. If you have not read Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime, you got to read that book, okay? Because he grew up in that era, okay, in South Africa when they had all that stuff going on. So his mother was Black and his dad was from Switzerland or something, okay? And he was literally born a crime, okay? Because they, whites and Blacks were not supposed to be, having kids and stuff, right? So in his book is where I read about this, and I read about the Bantu Education Act, right? So in the book, he was talking about how he went to this older man's house. He was like an elderly gentleman, right, who had never went past like I think it was like a 3rd or 4th grade education for what they did over there, okay? And the Bantu Act is very, very explicit, to let you know this all y'all need to know. You don't need to know nothing else, okay? We're going to teach you how to be, what did they teach them how to do? To be, let me see. Hold on a second, y'all. Go ahead and Google the Bantu Education Act so you can see exactly what was in there. Required Black children to attend government schools, okay, in their native tongue, Afrikaans. Here you go. Instruction was mandated in needlework for girls, handcraft, planting and soil conservation, as well as in arithmetic, social studies, and Christian religion. The education was aimed at training the children for the manual labor and menial jobs that the government deemed suitable for those of their race, and it was explicitly intended to inculcate the idea that Black people were to accept being subservient to white South Africans. Now, what I'm talking about here is that's South Africa, but don't think this stuff has not happened or is currently happening in present day. You understand? When it comes to education and what people are mandating folks be taught. Okay? So what I'm saying here, Styx doesn't have a Linux Debian checks, but Debian is a port from Red Hat. Okay, I do see a lot of Red Hat stuff. So use the Red Hat Styx. It should work for 95. Okay, good. Thank you, Professor Black Ops. So what I'm talking about here, and another reason why I do these so whats, okay, is because for a lot of this stuff, and y'all gonna see this when I tell you what a bit is, okay? You're gonna see this when I tell you what a bit is, because you're gonna see that you have to go outside, and I had to do the same thing when I was in HR and learning and development, okay? I had to leave, put down the learning and development books, all the experts talking about the best way to evaluate programs, and I had to put down all that stuff, go completely outside of the profession, okay? Because I was looking, you know, to expand my knowledge about learning and development. I had to get out of the profession to expand my knowledge about the profession, okay? Because within, you know, it was like you were just fenced into all of these different people's thinking and best practices for this thing, okay? Thinking that, okay, that they said it, they've been doing it for 20 years, you know, they've been here from the beginning, they created the framework, you know, all that, so they must be right. Okay, that's bullish. That's bullish. You understand? I had to go outside, okay, to find more and better and different and different. Okay. And I had to just think for myself, okay, does this sound right? Like, can we do something better in this area? I'm doing the same thing here in cybersecurity, okay? But I saw that when I first came into this profession. I'm like, what? Like, really? Y'all know since day one, I've had questions, okay, because this don't smell right, it don't look right. I mean, you know, something is rotten in Denmark, okay? And I think a lot of it has to do with what I just read, okay? Especially if we on, you know, the security team, you know, the people who are actually training and thinking and working and all that to help secure these organizations, we got to be thinking larger than this, okay? We have to. We got to think larger than this. So Professor Black Ops, I just got finished watching Game of Thrones. I went ahead and watched the whole thing. I know I said I didn't want to be disappointed, but I'm like, girl, just go watch the damn thing. And I did, okay. I still don't agree with what the way it was, but in the last episode, let me tell you this, and this is why I say this, okay? Y'all remember Game of Thrones last episode? You know, Cersei sitting there at the top of the red keep. I mean, just confident beyond confidence that you know Daenerys is not going to win and she's going to stay queen. All right, because one of her dragons was killed by the Night King, and her other dragon was killed by the dude with the spears in the boat. That big old spear. And the other dragon was killed. Okay. Which all came together to make her upset and go crazy. But, you know, but Cersei was very confident, right? Because she had this whole golden army on the sea, and nobody had ever breached the Red Keep. Between her and the violence, it was like miles and, you know, a long way. Plus she had a whole defense in depth program there. You understand? A whole defense in depth. Okay, she was very confident up there, you know, looking just stank. Okay, but the defense in depth, okay, did not, when they did all that stuff, did not count on a dragon. Okay, didn't count on it. If Daenerys didn't have a dragon, okay, the Game of Thrones would have been over season 5 probably. You know what I'm saying? But that dragon though. And I bring that up, okay, speaking about security and us needing to go outside what we are being taught and told we need to know, okay? Because we clearly see dragons flying around here, just busting up defense in depth, okay? Like it wasn't even there, okay? Like it wasn't even there. You know what I mean? Who's planning for the dragons? Okay, what are we gonna do? I mean, who's doing that? You know, so one of the things that I am working on, you know, diligently, but I'm going to need some more people. Dragon is the nation state. That's what I'm talking about, right? We can't just be sitting ducks waiting, knowing we can't do shit, and for them to do some stuff, so that we could, post it up online and do more hacking to see what they did. That's ridiculous. Oh, so what I'm doing, we need a different way of learning about this stuff is what I'm saying. And we don't have to be computer scientists to do it. We don't have to be computer scientists to do that stuff. We just need to be able to break it down to see what the hell is going on. And I mean, I really understand what is going on. Now, I have some radical ideas on how we can do that, but it's not hard, okay? It's not anything difficult. It's certainly more than we're doing now, okay? For example, when you look at how a botnet, and what is that? What is a botnet short for? It's network robots, I think, something like that. Robots on the network, or network robots, okay, botnet. And they're, and be it a client server or a peer one, right? There are certain things, and listen, when I said we are not fighting a war, this is not a cyber war. There's no war going on, okay? That's another way of thinking about it. Forget the war shit, because that makes you think in a certain direction, okay? It's not that. It's managing risk, right? That's what we're doing. We're managing. We are in an environment where cybercrime happens. That's just what the hell it is, okay? If you live in California, you're in an environment where you're going to get some earthquakes, okay? That's just what the hell it is. I lived in Louisiana. That's where I grew up. We got hurricanes galore down there, okay? Because the conditions are such that hurricanes happen. If I was in the Sahara, there wouldn't be no hurricanes because the conditions aren't there. So what we need to do, security team, under what conditions are needed for these various attacks to occur? Before the attack occurs, what conditions are needed? During it, okay, what needs to be sustained so the attack can continue, okay, right? Are we breaking things down like that? That's what I'm talking about. Because if we can interrupt any of those conditions, physics tells you, then the shit can't go on. But we got to find out what are the conditions. And when it comes to the stakes, Professor Black Ops, right, it's not just about adding stuff, or putting something on something. When we look at the conditions, we may need to take something out to remove that condition, and do some tailoring or something, threat model it. Yes, absolutely. The whole, and I mean threat model from like the whole what machine is needed, what OS is needed, what particular vulnerability is needed for this to occur. I mean, like really get around and think about this kind of stuff, because I'm sick. My stomach hurts, my head hurts with all of this security training that's primarily based in pen testing. I'm telling you, I can't take it. When we need to be doing stuff like this, break down the damn thing and see what is going on. Where can we interrupt these conditions? Okay. Oh my God. I don't understand. I just don't understand. So again, that's why I'm doing these kinds of things. Okay. Now listen. The bits one is going to be very important. It really, really is. Because when I was doing that, let me take this what is logical down, because I ain't talking about that no more. When I was doing the research, okay, I told y'all that, where the hell my damn banner at? Oh, no, wrong thing. Is this what was already happening? Okay. When I was doing the, what the hell was I saying? Oh, the bits, the research for the bits. Okay. And I had to go to a website, my kids' websites, my boys. They're in 5th and 6th grade, to the science page. Okay, for that I went there. I went to kids, websites for the science things, to learn about the different forces, right? Electromagnetic and all that stuff. A lot of electrical engineering stuff. Okay, that's what I mean. It's not difficult to understand, right? They explain stuff really, really, really nicely and all that. Energy, the energy um, business. The what do you call it? All those people who make money with energy, like the lights that come on in your house and all that shit, all them power things out there, right? All that stuff. Because because when it comes down to it, that's what it's about. Okay, it's about you paying that electric bill. A lot of it is about that. However, let me go ahead and tell y'all this right here. Give me a second. Let me pull up my mural real quick. I'm gonna give y'all this. I'm gonna give you this, okay? But the rest of it, you're gonna have to, get on the Patreon to see, okay? Because I need to give some stuff to my members over there. So this IP address is the gift that keeps on giving, honey. I'm telling you, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So let me tell you something. With here we go. Now I did a really quick and dirty with this in one of my other videos, okay? So y'all can go back and look at that if you want to. But so this is, let me show you the mural that I have for this thing right here. Where's this damn share right? Here you go. Okay. All right. So this is the mural that I did for what a bit is, right? And I started over here with talking about the request for comments and Cider and what the problem was, why they came up for this RFC for Cider and all that stuff. Okay. I go into the prefix match, all that. Okay. And then I go down here where I'm talking about the mental models, structuring a system and thinking about things differently. Okay. And then I go down here to talk about computers as electrical systems. All right. And so all this stuff is important. Okay. And about the on and off and, stuff we typically hear. Okay. And then over here, the electricity network. Okay. Which is, and the power plant, all this is relevant. Okay. And very important when it comes to this thing, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And this is back to that Bantu Education Act. Right. And we're just told what they say, it's a need to know. They don't need to know all this. Just tell them, about, this much right here. And because that's going to be their job. They don't need to know nothing else. All right. We'll take care of all this other stuff. So down here, when I started talking about what an IP address is, I started up here from the infrastructure perspective, IPv4 as a network ID and host identifier, and IPv4, where I have it as infrastructure over here. Okay, and that's what I told y'all. You can go to actual websites and see IPv4 addresses being bought and sold. Okay, like land, like real estate. Okay. So up here, and then I go more into Cider and some other stuff over there, but I'm not going to show that right now. Up here is where I start talking about what a bit is. Okay, right here, and this is going to be my next video about bits. So I'm not going to go too much into this, but I mean it ain't complicated. Okay, and it's not ones and zeros. Okay, everything, bits are ones and zeros in the same way the American flag is America. Okay, did you hear me? Bits are ones and zeros, the same way the American flag is America. All right? That's what it is. There's something real behind that symbol. And that's what I was trying to find out. But all I can get from people was ones and zeros. All I can get when I was asking, what is America? They would show me the flag. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, what? Okay, but that's all they knew. That is all they knew. Okay, because that's all they read. That's all they were told. And you know, I guess that's all I need to know, you know, if I'm doing this job. But look at this right here for the IPV. Now, when I was looking in the electrical stuff, I saw this, that V equals volts for the formula for voltage, P over I, with P being power in watts and I being current in amperes equals voltage, okay? I'm like, does that have anything to do with IPV? You know, because this is, you know, I was like, okay, so I have a question mark there, right? I was like, does that have anything to do with that, right? And then the other thing, I don't have it on here, but there is another thing that I also discovered, which makes nothing but sense. Because when I said IP addresses send you to the land, okay, the lot, the space that the house is in, because that's what's permanent. In other words, the memory, okay, space where you know the computing is going to happen, okay. I found something else. I don't know how the hell I found this, right? That talked about IP and IP addressing being intellectual property. Okay. So I'm like, huh, okay. Like whose intellectual property? You know, is because it, you know, all of the stuff that's going down in our memory right now, like all the stuff, every single thing we put in, all of the data, all of it, intellectual property for who? Yeah. It's interesting. Let me just say that I'm saying it's interesting, okay? Because you know, I know that there's some shit popping behind the scenes, and everything we don't need to know, you know, to actually do what we're doing. But some shit we do, you know. If we got dragons flying around here, you know, why you just want me to know how to secure the boats? You know, how to make sure everybody has armor on, you know, and everybody has weapons in their hands. You know, why am I only learning how to, you know, how to, what you call that, blacksmith swords, or so, you know, when they hit the swords with the heat and all that shit? Why am I just learning that? We got dragons, fire breathing. Okay, don't I like shouldn't I be learning something else? The format of this looks like you're doing blockchain. What you mean, the mural? No, I'm not doing any blockchain. Mm-mm. But what I'm talking about though is you know, and maybe blockchain technology, like we need to be considering stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is it's gonna take, so CompTIA ain't gonna change their stuff no time soon, is what I'm saying. Okay, or EC Council or whoever else. Okay, as long as they're making money and doing what DOD wants them to do, they're gonna keep doing it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. But what I'm saying is, if we are serious, oh, the mural, yeah. If we are serious about security, then we're gonna have to get out of cybersecurity and go learn some other shit and then come back. Okay. You know what I mean? You know, we're gonna have to, and not just go out, we're gonna have to bring in other stuff that we already know that we put on the back burner because we feel like that ain't got shit to do with cybersecurity. Okay. No. You have to bring that to the table. Okay. You got to bring that experience, that perspective, all that stuff. You got to bring it to the table. Okay. I'm going to do I told you about that song by Jay-Z and Nas right now. Jay-Z says something in that song. I'm like, this is a perfect video. Okay. So y'all about to see when I get off of here, I'm going to make I'm gonna schedule something with that song. Okay. To talk about, you know, what that has to do with cyber and you know, and what we're doing over here, because it's very important. So I put that I wasn't able to play it though, but let me show y'all. I have this here. I could play it, but in the video you won't hear it because YouTube blocked it out. I gotta figure out, can I play music on YouTube? I can't play music on here, can I? Because it's StreamYard. I gotta figure that out, what the hell I can do. But let me show you this real quick before I go. So here in the phone, the one I did with the phone, oh, let me share it. You see the phone right here? Right there? So down here I have, so I'm comparing your phone number to what to the IP address and all that, right? Which is so the two, that's the identifier. This would be your prefix, you know, and this is just this. There would be like specific lines that went to your house, like back in the day, you know. So these 4 lines would actually go to your home, and that's how they would know whether you're there. But y'all remember that song from the time, 777-9311? I had that right here to demonstrate this song. But look over here. Now, if you come to the mural, you can play it, but you won't be able to play it in my video. These buildings right here, you know, are buildings like this. And you can even go here. I mean, so stuff like this, using your own telephone number to help you understand what an IP address is and what these numbers mean, you know, what they're pointing to, the same way your telephone, when somebody calls you, it knows where to, you know, it rings where you are, type thing. Like there's a lot of, this stuff ain't complicated. Okay, it's really not. Okay, it's not complicated at all. I just read tonight a description. Somebody was describing something in Linux. Child, I'm like, what the hell? I didn't know what they were talking about. I really didn't. And we do that a lot in our different professions. Okay, so if you all were in HR, learning and development and stuff, we would be saying stuff and using acronyms. Y'all wouldn't know what the hell we talking about. Okay, because it's the language. You know, they do it in law. You know, attorneys, you know, using language and stuff. Clients don't know what the hell is going on. Doctors, child, doctors will be using all kind of. I told somebody. Let me see. And it's what is it called here? There was something that somebody said, and all it meant was foot, but it sounded so complicated. It was like, he's just talking about your foot, girl. I mean, the doctor. It was some I don't know, child scientific medical name or something. But yeah, but just doing that. So, but you know, sometimes people do that stuff to make themselves sound smart. Y'all need to cut that out, okay? If you smart, you just smart. You ain't gotta, you know, be using these acronyms and shit trying to make people think you know what you're talking about. If you're using acronyms and all that, you probably don't know what the hell it means anyway. Okay, probably don't. Okay, be honest. But that's why I do this too, because so Richard Feynman, is it Richard Feynman? He's a Nobel Prize winner, one of the Nobel Prize winners in physics. He's dead now. Okay, but if you go to YouTube, type in Richard Feynman. This man was a genius. You understand me? And not just because he could understand physics like nobody's business. This man was able to explain it to children so they could understand. I use his Feynman technique, okay, when I do this kinds of stuff. The Feynman technique is where you're able to, you ask yourself questions in a way until you get to the point to where you can explain it to an 8-year-old and they would understand it. Okay, that's what that series is all about. It's about breaking it down. Okay, because if you come to me and say, Cheryl, hey, what is what's an IP address, and all I can do is quote to you what I learned in a dictionary, and I can't give you nothing more than that, I don't know what the hell an IP address is. What the hell are you coming to me for? Okay? If all I can do is spit out what I heard or read, I can't do nothing for you, because you can do that same thing. You need to come to me, just Google that shit. You got it. Because that's all I know. I'm telling you, listen, a wonderful example of what I'm talking about. If you type in Richard Feynman, let me type it in so I can make sure I'm giving you the right thing now. Y'all listen. I need people to activate their minds, okay, and so we can get this going. Type in Richard Feynman. It's spelled Feynman, fire. So he starts off talking about what fire is, like a very simple explanation of what the hell fire is, okay, down to the molecule hitting each other, okay, what it is. And then he goes, because he's talking about that, and he starts talking about carbon and stuff like that, right? He starts to talk about what roots are. Like he ends up, after he's, giving the roots of a tree are not in the ground. They're actually in the air. The roots of the tree are in the air. Perfect sense. Okay. You got to listen to him now. The roots of the tree are actually in the air. And if you look, because I like watching animal shows and all that. You like this? What song? Oh, Sorry Not Sorry. I'm talking about the one with Jay-Z, not that girl. Is that the one you're talking about? The new rap song with Jay-Z and Nas. But if you listen to what he says, right, and if you look at these, like, animal shows with Richard Attenborough, and I only like him narrating. I've grown up on Richard Attenborough narrating these animal shows, and if he's not narrating, I don't want to hear. Isn't that crazy? But if you look at those shows, when they're down in like the Antarctic and the Arctic and all these cold places and stuff, I remember when I was looking at this video, I remember him saying, if the sun does not reach the ground enough, or the sunlight does not go far enough in the ground, you're not going to get any plants. You're not going to get any grass. You're not going to get shit. Okay. Because the sunlight is what's needed, okay, for these kinds of things to grow. Right. And when he said the roots of the tree are actually in the air because of the way the sun interacts, I'm like, I got it. Which is beneficial, because when we talk about root and Linux, where's root? Root's at the top. Root's not at the bottom. Okay, it's right up here. It's up here. Okay, it's in the air. You understand? But I love his technique, and I like using his technique because it forces me to ask questions. Okay, and questions that people who have been here for a while can't really answer, right? Because they're just doing what they've been taught to do. Now, listen, if doing what you're taught to do is your jam, go do that. Do what you're taught to do. That makes you happy. That feels like you live in your life. You live in the dream. Do what you're told. But like, seriously, hey, Sheila, how you doing? Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the industry. So, if that's you, let that be you. All right. But you don't have to just do what you're told. Okay. We can go outside of cyber and actually find stuff. So what I'm doing, since I am comparing many of these cybersecurity and IT concepts with what's going on in the body to help us really understand, and to, to be able to associate these terms and stuff, right, with stuff that we're already familiar with, which is the way learning should happen anyway. I mean, it happens a lot more quickly when you're able to associate these terms with something you already know. It's like, oh, okay, I see that. Okay, now let me go a little bit further. All right, so that's what we're trying to do here now. And it's taking me, it's not like I just wake up one morning with these things. No, I'm actually doing research and typing ridiculous ass questions in Google, trying to find, what is this? Like, where did it come from? And that's another thing too. One thing I found useful when trying to understand concepts, if you're studying for Security Plus or whatever, type in the history of. Like, if you just can't grasp what a transistor is or something, or a CPU or whatever, history of, do that, because technology is not new. Like, technology, we're not introduced, it's not from an alien planet, that we're introducing here, and how, we gotta know. And technology is not always something that is electronic. what do you call those things? What you call them damn things? Those sticky yellow things. That's a technology. A paper clip is a technology. All right. Anything that enables us to do things more, better, more quickly, more widely, more efficiently, whatever, is a technology. Okay. Hair clippers is a comb, a wheel. When people, somebody invented the wheel. That's a technology. Okay. Don't make it mysterious. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Okay. Don't do it. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. All right. All of that is technology. Okay. And what we're doing now with computers and all this and the internet. Okay. A network, all a network is something for us to, to help us communicate and share, right? Communicate and share. Don't make it complicated. All right. And there is, if you look at what an IP address is, and you would hear all this stuff, I'll have in detail on my Patreon and all that, but an IP address is, there has to be a network there first before you get an IP address. Okay. There has to be a network first before you get one. You understand? A whole bunch of IP addresses together, and the network is right there on your damn motherboard. Okay. Okay. That's there first. Okay, now we're gonna assign an IP address. All right, we got a whole network. Now we got stuff going on. And that's what I'm talking about, right? It's not like when I first came in here, it seemed like really complicated, like it really did. I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole brand new world, and I'm new to this, and I don't know anything about IT, and not understanding that when I type in StreamYard.com to come to this website, it's the same thing as whatever their IP address is. I just, don't interpret it that way. Somebody else interprets it that way. And it's the same thing as all the binary, the ones and zeros in the binary code for the thing, so that the computer can, I guess it's a continuum, right? It's the same thing. It's just it's able to be interpreted differently by different things. Okay. So IT isn't new to anybody on here who in the world who has a phone or has been to the internet or whatever. Okay. It's not. It's not new. And that's what I'm talking about here. Okay. Letting you know this is not new. I don't care what people are telling you. You don't have to start from scratch. I don't know how many times I gotta say that. You don't have to start from scratch. If you've been fishing for the last 20 years, if that's what you've been doing as a profession, fishing, crabbing, okay, digging holes. You understand? If you've been embalming dead bodies for the last 20 years, okay, you got to bring that to the table. You learned something. You bring in some skills here now. All right, that embalming, that might, you got a lot to offer. If you've been painting, you've been a starving artist, and your mama said you got to get a job, or you got to get the hell up out of here. Okay, bring that to the table. If you didn't have a job, you just at home raising kids. Okay, bring your homemaking and all that. If you've made a profession, okay, of cheating on your girlfriend, okay, without getting caught, bring that to the table. We need them skills, okay, to figure out what the hell to do with all these folks trying to get up in networks without getting caught. How did you do it? Okay, so that we can learn and what would have needed to happen for you to get caught. We need to hear that. Okay, we need all of that. Don't leave anything behind. I'm so serious about this. All right. Yo, so it was Richard Feynman Explains Fire. Go ahead and look that up. What else I tell y'all to look up? I don't know. But when I come back, I'm gonna go ahead and do the bits. I put some stuff on the mural with the body. Let me just I'm already on the mural, so let me just show it to you real quick. What I got so far. What I decided to do, because I want to build a computer, because I just want to have the stuff in front of me. Now, I've taken one apart before and put it back together, but I want to build my own. I want to build my own, get my own stuff, you know, and do all that stuff myself so I can see the stuff up close. These pictures are nice, but I need to see some stuff up close, okay? Real and in person. Where the hell is the thing? Okay, wait. Let me see. Do I get out of here? Oh, here it is. Okay, open this one. All right, here it is. Hi, Edwin. I didn't even see you. I'm so glad to see you here. Share. I'll be so slow with this stuff. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's the mural that I'm going to be using. Now, I've already put the IP address stuff up here. Okay, when I talked about, you know, it's the land, it points you to the land, which is memory. You know, the stuff that's not going to change and all that. So, and I have a little bit of extra information in here. Okay, and right here. So this is where I'm doing the stuff with the bits. Okay, now the bits is very interesting. I'm not going to zoom in because I'm going to show you, if not tomorrow, then the next day, what I compare this to. But it's very interesting. Okay, and you know, which took me into other parts. But we're going to talk about that another day. Now down here, what I wanted to do is eventually. So this is a motherboard. Okay, so eventually, what I want to do. I'm breaking some of these things down, but what I want to do, because this is the network, the original network, okay, that we get IP addresses assigned to, all right, I want to map on the motherboard where things like attacks, various attacks occur. Like what's going on here at this level of abstraction, okay? You know, at the lowest level of abstraction, what's happening in here, okay? Because this kind of stuff, you know, and in addition to learning what these things are, and I don't know, you know, unless you've taken A+ or something, you know, if you even know what a lot of this stuff is and what it's for and what it means. And, you know, like this thing right here is 11, what is that, 1150 or whatever. I think that's the number of total pins or something like that. So, you know, just really being able to know, not at the level to where you're going to be doing this for a living, but to know enough to be able to really think more creatively about how we can interrupt some of the processes that are coming together to create these various breaches. The ones that we can interrupt. Now, like I said in the Blacks in Cyber presentation, some stuff we just gonna have to sit back and take it. You know, like you got a tornado coming, you need to batten down the hatches, you need to go get in the bathtub, you need to, you know, whatever you do when a tornado comes to keep yourself and your family safe, you need to do that because you ain't interrupting nothing, okay? We haven't developed that technology yet to interrupt the stuff that comes together to create a tornado. We haven't done it yet, not that I'm aware of, okay? They tried it though. They tried to fight tornadoes back in the day, like the 1700s. They created all kind of stuff. Okay, bombs to blow them up. Like they would shoot bombs in the air. Look it up. They would shoot bombs in the air to try to blow it up and dispel it. Didn't work. Okay, didn't work. They tried it, but until we find something, you got to sit back and take it. Okay. That's all you. Some of y'all used to just sitting back and taking it now. So don't act like you don't know how to do that. So for some stuff, we just got to do that, okay? But for other stuff, we don't have to do that. We were doing it, but we don't have to, okay? We can actually sit our hind parts down, okay? My mom would say hind part. I'm from the South. Sit your hind part down and think about this stuff. Break down the things that have to happen to have these attacks occur, okay? Because like I said in my presentation, you know, I had a bully when I was in middle school. This boy, I mean, I don't know why, you know, on the school bus, every time I got off the school bus, he would hit me. for no reason. Okay. And so there were conditions that came together that allowed this boy to be able to just bully me. Okay. We rode the same bus together. We got off at the same stop. When we got off at the same stop, it was just me and him. Okay. He had some issues where he felt like he needed to be able to bully somebody. Okay. I was a little girl. I wasn't going to fight him. He was bigger than me. You know, all them conditions came together to me having a bully, you know, and being harassed and hit after I got off the bus when I was a little girl. I had to interrupt those conditions so that the bullying would stop occurring. Something had to change. Either we had to be on different buses, we had to get off at different stops. Something had to interrupt at least one of those conditions, okay, for that bullying to stop. What happened was I told my mom what was going on. She told my big brother, go out there, because he got off of school before I did. Go out there to Cheryl's bus stop when she gets off the bus, so this little boy can see that he cannot do that to her. He did. My brother came out that when I got off the bus, when I was there, my big brother, he was very tall, much older than the bully. Okay. He was standing right there. There was no bullying after that day. Him being there interrupted at least one of those conditions. And it was probably whatever that bully was feeling he was empowered to do. He saw that if I do that, you know, that's not going to look good for me. So I better stop doing that. And he stopped. I wasn't bullied after that. That's what I'm talking about. There are conditions that are coming together to allow these attacks to occur. We don't know what the hell those conditions are. All we doing is chasing behind, trying to do what the hacker did, you know, pretending like we thinking like them and doing some shit. No. Why see yourself to somebody's table, okay, get around there and talk about what the conditions are. Where can we interrupt this before it happens? Now, for this botnet thing, whoever owns the device, their participation is paramount. We need to let users know that. Listen, let me tell you something. In order for this botnet shit to happen, they really, really rely on your participation. Okay, clicking pop-ups and downloading attachments and doing all this, you know, they need that. That's part of the conditions for them to have millions and millions and shit of computers in the damn network, okay? We need to, you know, let users know this, okay? So maybe that instead of telling them stop clicking on links, stop clicking on, ain't nobody listening to that shit anymore. They're really not. They're not listening. You're a human being just like they are, okay? I'm an adult telling another adult, stop clicking on links. You read the policy, it said don't click on links. It's, you know, I'm like, those of you out there with habits, stop smoking. You know the Surgeon General says you're not supposed to smoke, okay? Quit eating all them pizzas. You know that grease ain't good for you. Does that help? Does that make you say, hey, the CDC, the Surgeon General, my primary doctor, somebody told me I'm gonna die if I don't stop doing this. I better stop. You know we're not like that. Most of us are not like that. It's gonna take more than that. Okay, so cut it out with the you know, stop clicking on links. Y'all, that's ridiculous. You know, we got to do something. Why? And just because, you know, some arbitrary, you know, or whatever, we got to do better than that. Okay, because we're trying to change behavior. Your behavior don't change like that. Why would you expect somebody else's behavior to change like that? This is person-centered cyber. Okay, that's what we talk about here. Persons. Okay. Y'all be getting me riled up, child. I mean, I tell you, I just, I don't know. I believe that the past president said something similar when hurricane was coming. But and I love being here. in this, profession with all of you, and doing all this stuff, because there's such opportunity for creativity, And I told somebody the other day, so I did this diversity and inclusion talk with my I do this FM radio show on what is it called? Nothing FM, right? I have a spiritual channel. What is, is you really can't tell the difference between this one and the other one. But anyway, we were talking about diversity and inclusion stuff, right? And I said, I know for a fact, I know this, okay, that if we actually, include more perspectives and experiences and, and all that into various conversations, we can really get much further than we are right now. We're really holding ourselves back, feeling like because this person doesn't have certain credentials or certain IT experience, they won't have anything to contribute to the conversation. I'm a social worker, okay? I, have worked in HR for years, training and development. I said the only thing I knew about IT was that, I couldn't, was that training, that terrible training I had to do every year, that I didn't pay attention to and just did so my computer wouldn't get shut off. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what one question that was on there. I don't know. Okay. And when I came here, when I got interested in it because of creating courses and I finally came to the profession, I was like, man, this is awesome. And I was immediately able to contribute, immediately, not having been in IT or whatever, just using what I already had, was immediately able to. I was shocked as hell. I mean, shocked. Nobody was as shocked as I was that I got as high a score as I did on my first attempt at the CYSA. I was like, damn. Okay. But that goes to show you that diversity of thought, especially when you're dealing with dragons, diversity of thought, okay, all kinds of experiences are necessary. You know what I mean? And even if it's just like you're having a meeting or something, like invite other people in the organization to the damn meeting. Put something out. Hey, we're having a discussion about, breaking down, the various aspects of how this kind of attack happens, or not even an attack. We're breaking down the various things that happen because we see that there's a heightened number of people plugging in things they don't need to plug in, or whatever. There's a heightened number of malware getting in through links or whatever the damn case is. Okay, don't just have your group of the SOC people just in there talking about that shit. Call the people who are doing it in there, okay? Call them in to talk about, well, what's happening? What's going on? How can we work together to be sure we're as secure as possible, that we're, as diligent as possible to keeping ourselves secure. Don't just rely on them signing that damn don't plug anything in document when they get hired and doing that training, okay? Especially if the training is garbage, because you're the only ones who came up with it. You didn't have nobody in there who actually worked in the organization helping you create it, all right? Don't expect much, okay? I said this is person-centered cyber. If you don't like this kind of stuff, then you can click off, but that's what we talk about over here, okay? That's what we talk about. All right, I'm gonna come at y'all. I got two things. I got that sorry, not sorry. Again, if you have not heard Sorry, Not Sorry with Nas and Jay-Z, please go to, just type it in YouTube and it'll come right up, okay? I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And I'm so proud of my brothers. I really am. I really am. That and my and the bits. Y'all gonna love the bits, okay? This went way longer than it was supposed to. It's supposed to be short, okay? But I'm excited about the bits one. I really, really am. I found out so many enlightening things, about that. I really did. and I keep saying, and I'm just going to say this. Saturday, was it Saturday? No, Friday morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I was up. And I put the recording. I should have recorded what I did, actually, you know, with the group, because it was a lot more animated and stuff. I wasn't as robotic because I was reading a script, but it's here. I did the talk at the Startup Innovation Hub in Nigeria. Okay, 5 o'clock for me. It was like 10 or something for them. And you know, in that I talked about, you know, securing your business, and we talked about what security is. I mean, and really looked at it from a different perspective. Okay, really looking at it as a way to build various kinds of capital. Okay, security, because one thing that I pointed out, there's two words that we use in cybersecurity that are also used in the financial world. Okay, and that's not a mistake. Okay, it's not a mistake, and that's the word security and trust. You'll hear security and trust both used if you go to financial people. Okay, and you'll hear it over here too. All right. And what I did was I tried to help make the connection between why, first of all, what security is. Okay, like what it really is. What it really is. It's not somebody imposing something on you. That is not security. Okay, imposing. If somebody comes and say, "Hey, I'm gonna make you secure," and they start putting locks and bars and rules about when you can go out and when you can't, and is that making you secure? That sounds like a prison to me. Okay, totally taking away your right to choose. You understand? So the thing that I bring out is not about security, you know, the way we talk about it, but when it comes to human rights, okay, it's the freedom to be secure. Okay, that freedom needs to be there to be secure. Okay, in you know, for us as people, all right, which means, okay, I can say, first of all, I need to know what the environment is like. Okay, I decide what kind of lock I want on my door. Okay, I decide if I want to leave my windows open at night or whatever. Okay, because I presumably have done the work. I see what the threats are like, and I see what's around here, and you know, and all that stuff. And things can always happen, even if you have locks on every door in your house. Okay, shit can always go down, right? But the point is, freedom to choose. Security itself is actually a human right. Okay, and it's written in the thing of human rights. I told you all about that here before. But so the thing is keeping that secure. Okay, keeping that human right to security secure, right? Otherwise, you got another Columbus discovering America type situation. Okay, you got that same situation, but you just got it in the digital world now, and it's already going on. It's already going on. Okay, already. So we just need to be aware of that, I think, and see what our mission as cybersecurity people really is. Okay, what it really is. You know, it's much bigger. It's much bigger than what we've been told it is. It's not just about data and information. Okay, it is about people. Because when you look at that, I don't know if I showed it here, but it's in that presentation. But there's a whole chart that shows you how our data creates wealth for everybody except us. How it creates wealth for all kinds of people. All kinds of people. Okay? All kinds of people. And you know, having some control over our own, you know, the stuff our own intellectual property. But that's another discussion. That is another discussion that we will get to. All right. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you, and those of you watching the replay, thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, so you can be alerted when I come on with these so that's type things, and when we have these really insightful, you know, discussions, because you're not going to hear a lot of this in any classes you go to, I promise. Not until I start my own classes. Okay, will you hear any of this? So, but I think it's important because I think we're capable of so much more. Like we really, really are. And but we're not using it, and I think it may be because we don't feel like we'd be heard, or we may feel like our ideas aren't needed, maybe, or good ideas don't come from people who look like us, or who are in our certain position, or getting our certain salary. Like I don't know what the hell. Like I don't know. Okay. But what I tell people, especially on my Patreon with the career coaching, right, is a lot of us, we talk about getting jobs, okay? And I did a book club with the Patreon folks with a book called The End of Jobs by Taylor Pearson. We went through that book, The End of Jobs. I have all the videos over there. Very good book. Because nowadays, our goal should not be to get a job, okay? A job may be on the way to what's going on, but being a content creator, if you look at the billionaires, okay, even just in the United States, okay, these people have created content, so that other people, and you're a content creator. Let me tell you when you know you're a real content creator, is when people can use what you've done to create their own content, to further their own, their selves. They don't just use what you have and consume it, and then go back and get what you have and consume it, and then go back and get what you have and consume it. That's not content creation. Like content creation is something that other people can use to further themselves. You understand? Like that's what that. So our goal for many of us, I believe, because of what we have, and who we are, should be to create content, right? That other people can use and find value in, because it makes them so, because it takes them further in what they're trying to do and where they're trying to go. Okay. Everybody don't need to be a consumer. I mean, or somebody that's like, if you look at, so when I was in HR, right, this is one of the things, and this is why I'm not there anymore, because these people, they weren't ready. So if you look at the life cycle of a consumer versus the life cycle of a business, so businesses want consumers, right? If you look at those two life cycles, the life cycle of a business is more like that of a human being, okay? Like a business is born, it matures, sometimes it's reborn, or sometimes it dies. You go out of business. It's more like the life cycle of a person. If you look at the life cycle of a consumer, it's like a drug addict, okay? They consume, they have to, and it runs out and they have to come back. It's like a drug addict, right? We don't want drug addicts, though. I don't think so. I don't. I do not. I feel like we, as a content creator, you're more like a good doctor. Good doctors are trying to get rid of their patients. They don't want them to come back. Okay. Good doctors want you to go, want you to leave, want you to start to, take control of your own health, so you can have a better quality of life and all that. That's what the good doctors want. Okay. They don't want you to keep, because when people see that, guess what happens? They get trust. Okay, this doctor's doing something good. Okay. I trust that this doctor is going to give me good advice. They're going to, know what they're doing when they give me surgery or whatever the hell the doctor is. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to be able to go off and have a better quality of life, so I can stop having to go to the doctor and get medicine, and all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? So there's a difference between wanting to be a content creator, I feel like is, and it could be different kinds of content, right? It doesn't have to be YouTube or like whatever you're doing. If it's blogging or, creating courses or speaking, like whatever the hell you're doing, what can somebody use that you're creating so that they can do something more now? Okay. So it's about creating content so that you and your content is a collaborator in helping this other person reach their goal. Now, it's not going to be just your content that they're using, right? They're going to have other collaborators, but yours is not going to be something that they have to stop right there because they kind of keep running back. Okay, and they got to stop right there and keep running back, just like a drug addict, would do. Okay, and again, this is when you're doing security. The way that security actually is. When it's security, not imprisonment. Okay. You're going to be creating content is what you're going to be doing, because you're going to be enabling. You're going to be enabling the organization to be able to secure itself, okay? To be more security conscious, to actually develop a security culture is what we're going to be doing, okay? Not always having to run to somebody saying, "Oh, can you secure me?" But that's what we want, especially if we're looking at human rights in cybersecurity. Okay, these people are going to have to become conscious of what's going on, so that we don't have that same, and instead of ships in the water, we got the digital Santa. What is this? Nina Pinta and Santa Maria. Okay, we don't need none of that. All right, let me get out of here. Thank y'all again for being here. Please like and subscribe, and I will see y'all later. So have a good one. Good night.